Entering a fighting tournament in a video game is a big decision. Chances are the other fighters will be able to shoot fireballs out of their hands, shatter your bones like breadsticks, or be literally the devil, so you'd better make sure you're doing it for a good reason. Unlike the following fighters.
It's super dynamic cooking time!
Many of the participants in Street Fighter 4's tournaments have good reasons for being there. Abel is an amnesiac looking to defeat the surviving members of the evil organization Shadoloo. Rufus wants to get one over on Ken and prove he's the strongest fighter in America. And Mexican luchador El Fuerte wants some new recipes?
I will ascend into the night sky and reach the stars of ultimate delicacy!
You know this is a fighting tournament, right? Not Iron Chef. Okay, fine, let's say for the sake of argument that great fighters eat great food and that the only way to get them to share those recipes is to pummel them unconscious. It turns out none of that even matters because El Fuerte is a terrible, terrible chef.
Adding one delicious thing to another delicious thing always equals more deliciousness.
Are you cooking or doing algebra? I'm not sure I trust either in your hands.
Here, he decides that mixing E. Honda and Zangief's favourite foods together will create the most delicious food imaginable. Let's see how that goes.
Ha! It tastes so great! It sends you straight to heaven!
Man, if only there was some other way of getting better at cooking or finding recipes. Sadly, this is the only way that El Fuerte could think of.
Round 1. Fight.
Speaking of terrible chefs, Martial Law from Tekken is another example of someone who really needed a better reason for potentially getting repeatedly punched in the face by a robot, a mechanized space ninja, and an actual panda. Before the events of Tekken 4, Martial had set up a nationwide chain of Chinese restaurants called Martial China, which went bankrupt because the food was terrible and everyone hated it.
Man, the food here sucks!
We have to pay for this?
After spending a few months as a hopeless drunk, Martial entered the King of Iron Fist tournament to get the money to restart his restaurant empire, which, as we just pointed out, was not a financially viable business. So what happened when he won?
What did you just say?
You heard me, I said this food sucks!
That's right, everyone hated the food again and then he went bankrupt again. But not before beating up his dissatisfied customers. That'll help the Yelp reviews. Still, at least he's passing on Kung Fu's message of serenity, tolerance, and non-violence to the students in his dojo, I guess.
Put more anger into it.
Skullomania!
Although his story changed in later Street Fighter games, when he debuted in Street Fighter EX, Skullomania was a regular salesman called Saburo Nishikayama, who was terrible at his job. Man, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Under pressure from his bosses, Saburo dressed up as a superhero for a carnival in honor of a top customer, because apparently that's a thing that companies do in the Street Fighter EX universe. Not once has my local coffee shop thrown a carnival for me, just saying. Anyway, once he had it on, he thought the costume he wore, a Zentai suit covered in bones, was so great that he was going to wear it forever and become a vigilante who fights crime. I guess he decided Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li and Zangief were all criminals because he's fighting them, and seems to be doing okay for someone who, a week ago, was getting yelled at for not selling enough of whatever it is his company sells. I'm going to guess Zentai suits or skeletons. Also, according to his ending, he's either now massive or that's a really tiny carnival. Maybe that's how they can afford to put on carnivals for their customers. It all makes sense now, or as much sense as anything about Skullomania can do. Blade is a character who only appeared in the Street Fighter the movie video game, which was a bad game based on a bad movie based on a good game. He's one of Bison's shock troopers, an elite force of dudes in motocross helmets with knives in their feet that help Bison carry out whatever his plan was in the movie, I forget.
Every bison dollar will be worth 5 British pounds once I've kidnapped their queen.
Right, that was it. As someone who didn't appear in the movie itself, Blade seemed like a filler character to make up the numbers. Who's going to pick him when you could pick such famous Street Fighters as Ryu, or Chun-Li, or Captain Sawada? Everyone's favourite. Actually finished the game with Blade, however, and in a complete rug pull ending that comes out of nowhere, Blade is revealed to be Guile's brother Gunlock, last seen in the wrestling games Saturday Night Slam Masters and its sequel, Ring of Destruction Slam Masters 2. Yes, the guy that Hagar just pile drove so hard he went through the ring. Apparently, he'd been recruited as a deep cover sleeper agent to infiltrate Bison's organisation, where he'd been experimented on and turned into a cyborg. Bear in mind that Gunlock was one of the top wrestlers in the United States and as such, hugely recognisable. Did he wear that mask the whole time? It was years, according to his ending text. That's like asking Stone Cold Steve Austin to infiltrate Al-Qaeda, which is a terrible idea unless it's the plot of a made-for-TV movie.
Johnny Cage wins.
According to his bio in the first Mortal Kombat game, Johnny Cage is the current box office champ thanks to such hit movies as Dragon Fist and Dragon Fist 2, as well as the movie named after its one stage direction, Sudden Violence. You'd be forgiven for thinking that someone in such a privileged position as Johnny would need a pretty compelling reason for entering a fighting tournament whose other competitors include a cyborg mercenary, a skull-faced hell ninja, and the literal God of Thunder.
Raiden wins. Flawless fatality.
But according to the game, Johnny's reason for entering Otherworld sorcerer Shang Tsung's Mortal Kombat tournament is so that he can prove that he doesn't rely on special effects in his films. I don't know, Johnny, maybe a behind-the-scenes documentary or a Snapchat story from the set would serve the same purpose without putting you at risk of having your head pulled off by a supernatural ice ninja.
Sub-Zero wins. Flawless fatality.
Now who's going to make Dragon Fist 3? Norimaro from the Japanese versions of Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter is a small, nervous high school student with an old man face who knows nothing about fighting. So you might be wondering why he's decided to enter a fighting tournament that features not only the Street Fighter roster, but also such provably deadly Marvel superheroes as Wolverine, Spider-Man, and the Incredible Hulk. While we're never explicitly told what the hell Norimaro is doing there, judging by what he gets up to in the game, he's just a fan of the game's characters who wants to get photos and autographs.
Ready.
That explains why he fights like someone who just walked into an unexpected spiderweb, and why one of his most powerful attacks involves panic throwing the contents of his satchel at his opponent. I'm sure the Marvel superheroes are just being nice by not killing him. Maybe he won a contest or something. And hey, it's not like he has to fight Apocalypse or anything. Yeah, he's gonna die. Those were 6 fighting game characters who really should be rethinking their decisions. Got a favourite we missed off the list? Let us know in the comments, and like and subscribe for more videos like this from Outside Xbox. Thanks for watching!